Quick check here to make sure all systems online. Twitch, you're good. X, you're good. YouTube, are we online? Don't see anything just yet. Oh, I might not have set my restream properly. That might be a thing. Alright, let's try that again. Sorry about that. Sorry for the double ping for anybody who happened to get multiple pings about stream going live. Now we've got everything, I think, back online properly. Double check one more time here. YouTube was kind of the red flag. It's like, hey, you're supposed to be streaming to this and nothing's coming here. Probably why. We'll get started in just a moment's time. And it's... Okay. We'll roll with this for now. The YouTube side of things still did not send it to the right video that I was looking for, but we'll roll with it, I suppose. Clean this a bit so people actually find the proper thing, and we'll get into this. Thank you for bearing with me. I know optimally I'm supposed to have a starting soon screen to get all this done and worked on in the background. However, from what I can tell, especially at least on the X side of things, people don't seem to do too well when it comes to starting soon screens. So I've been avoiding it. But here we go. Let's get into the swing of things here. So welcome this week in Illuvium, coming back one more time here. From what looked like was going to be a very, very quick and quiet episode, overnight has turned into an episode where we've got a lot to talk about, all within the same couple of documents. You'll see the topics there on the right-hand side. We've got plenty to go over. Regardless of which platform you happen to be on as well, I have the chat windows open for every single platform. Gladly take questions, comments, or chit-chat as we go on through. As much as I have this structured, I do like community involvement as well, as long as you want to. It's not something, of course, I force on anybody. Quickly, the community content page just being filled with AI dokas, I swear to God. But, alright. Let's get in. X is not very stream friendly in general. Yeah, you're not wrong. Very, very true. But good afternoon, big man. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. But now, okay, let's get on into the action here. So we're going to start things off with probably what is the biggest topic of sorts of the three. Granted, there's a few of them that are kind of on the same page here. But the Arena 117 testnet has come out, which, of course, before I do go into it, with this still being testnet, that does mean some of the things that we might talk about will change by the time that patch 1.17 hits the live servers. But we could still kind of go through and see where the development team's mind's at in regards to Illuvium Arena, any sort of changes, and what could be coming up in the future, and get a little bit of a head start. And then we'll see when the patch actually drops what kind of changes were there. A lot of times it just ends up being small balance changes, which, okay, that's fair. Very rarely is there a drastic change in between, like, features, for example. You've not tried the new patch yet, but or from the notes, I have mixed feelings. I kind of seen the same thing. I don't have access to the testnet either, or at least personally I don't have access to the testnet, so I could not give it a shot myself, but I'll give my thoughts as we get into this. We have a lot of extra time here today, so instead of just belting out topic after topic, I'll actually give my thoughts live here during this week in Illuvium and not wait till the post-show to give my thoughts on this. As much as this is also Illuvium news, I do also want to give my mindset on it as we go along. Right. So first things first, let's take a look at the Illuvium Arena update. for the Testnet, patch 1.17. I have had the opportunity to take a look through this once, and I've got to say, we've got a lot of interesting things here to start things off. First and foremost, the gameplay situation in regards to ownership. Of course, in the past versions of Illuvium and Arena, or even the current version that we have right here, right now, your level and your stats do matter when you actually own the Alluvial. And if you don't own any Alluvials, or you don't own a specific Alluvial, it shows up as level 1 with no stats. So while you can play the game regardless, you are at an absolute massive disadvantage. And I honestly do believe, when I take a look at this, that this is going to amplify this big time as we go along here. So in order to make the progression and more meaningful and rewarding, the following adjustments have been made to ownership. So this is your TPI in regards to all of your stats. It's labeling everything from 1 or from 0 to 5 here. So we'll have to take a look. Of course, if you have no stats, you just don't get any bonus stats. That part's not changing. But if you only have say a level 1 of attack damage, it used to be 5%. Now you're getting 8%. Got level 2 for your damage. You do get, or you were getting 10%. Now you're getting 16. If you had level 3, it was a 15. Now it's 24. So even getting Alluvials, as long as they have a stat, it is that much more impactful. But what's crazy is when you look at these next two. So for level 4, it was a 20% bonus before. Now it's 32. And if you have a perfect stat for an Alluvial, from it being a 25% bonus, it is now a 40% bonus. So those perfect Alluvials out there, they all just got a massive buff because the amount of stats that they're actually going to be giving in the matches themselves are going to be going up exponentially. It's going to absolutely be a noob slaughtering massacre out there, as if it wasn't already. This is just going to be the icing on the cake for newcomers coming into Illuvium, in my opinion. It is going to make that barrier to entry so much more difficult, especially, God forbid, any newcomers are coming in right here, right now, and you can't go out anywhere and catch it. You just are focused on buying. That's asking a lot from a new player. So until we get the MMO out here, or some way to catch Alluvials, because let's be honest, nobody wants to rip open a pack when you're just starting off a game and getting random Alluvials. That's boring. That's terrible. We want to catch something ourselves. This is a creature collector, not a pack ripper. So those players, those newcomers, are going to have a very, very hard time trying to get into Arena. Let's take a look at chat for a second here. I have access tonight. We'll try to stream tonight, 6 hours. Heck yeah. As I'm passing out, then I'll tune in, absolutely. And see how it goes. I definitely want to see it in action. Zico Perico, hello, good afternoon. Going all right overall. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a look now in regards to level. When you were level 1 before, it didn't necessarily, when you had a level 1 Alluvial, it didn't necessarily help you before. Now it is going to get the 1% bonus, but here's the progression. So instead of it being what was a 0.5% of stats every single level, it's going to be 1%. And with the max level bonuses that you're getting, this now makes it so that before, if you were max level, you got a 30% stat bonus. You get a 60% stat bonus. So again, perfect Alluvials, high leveled, will be able to absolutely run over the field, and top level Illuvium, top level collections, definitely going to be very, very interesting. But again, getting yourself to that point is going to be so difficult. What I'd argue right now is that this change here actually makes life so much tougher for players like myself alongside the newcomers, because I have, say, a handful of Alluvials that are around level 30 to 50. Anybody who's sitting there with perfect Alluvials at level 60, they're gonna feast on me for days. Before, I could hold my own against them. I'd sometimes be able to take wins off them. There's no chance in hell that's happening now, as long as they're playing with at least 3 brain cells turned on. So they'll be able to absolutely crush us. Fox Oracle, hello, good afternoon. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And then here with prestige levels. So Alluvials can progress beyond level 60, but they're considered prestige. Each prestige level requires significantly more experience than the last, For example, reaching level 61 from level 60 requires the same amount of experience as going from 1 to 60. Okay, so this is basically a similar thing that you would see in... I know Call of Duty was kind of where the term prestige kind of really started off with, where you'd make max level in Call of Duty, you'd just set yourself down to 1 and try to do it again, but every single time you did it, you would get like a new flashier badge for your profile to show off that you would do that. This is kind of similar, but it's just going to say 61 instead of 60. I think this was already somewhat in the game. I feel like I have seen an Illuvial at level 61 before. But that'll definitely be interesting. I'd love to see them maybe take this a little bit further, something similar to what Call of Duty does, where some sort of badge or cosmetic kind of comes into play once they've prestiged. Something along those lines. Maybe the border, or maybe the... not a shiny, not like a hollow, but maybe there could be some sort of cosmetic. But here again, I'm just kind of speculating. But I feel like if you've prestiged an Illuvial, I feel like just a number tweak doesn't do it justice. I like the idea, I just hope it builds from there. Bot bonus stats. So let's take a look here. So with the bots, as of right now, let's be honest, bots have been essentially free. We've been seeing a lot more of them because we're still kind of just waiting for that thing to play for with Arena. So a lot of our times, our lobbies are going to be, say, like 4 to 6 players of bots, and it's essentially freebies. So because they've just been level 1s with no stats, we run them over, thank you, next. But with the bot bonus stats coming on through here, let's take a look and see what we've got. To ensure bots are actually worthy opponents, I'm actually in there, but to show that bots are worthy opponents in every match, we've introduced a system called active ownership. This system enables bots to evaluate each lobby's active collection power and dynamically scale the strength of the bots accordingly. So as a result, bot Illuvials will now have TPI calculated as the average TPI of all active players' ownership in the lobby. And then their levels, average levels of active players' ownership in the lobby. So, okay, this is actually kind of nice, because one thing that we've been kind of speculating on a little bit is how does experience work in the game right now, right? Because I don't think there's like a strict outline of how it's exactly distributed. So what I think a lot of people were discussing was that anytime they get a lobby with bots, they just don't get that much experience really at all. Meanwhile, when they play a game with other players, it seems to be a little bit higher, and of course, depending on where you finish, might have a little bit of a effect of that as well. But if the levels of the bots can also like influence how much experience you're getting by beating them, that'd be cool. I'd like that. Ranger stats. So of course, similar to the bots, the Ranger fell behind. Yeah, they're squishy as of this moment, at least in live, as it does not directly benefit from the Illuvial ownership bonuses. To address this, we're applying the same active ownership system to the Ranger. The Ranger will now receive a level bonus equal to the average level of each individual player's active ownership. Interesting. For example, if your active ownership of Illuvials is a level of 36, your Ranger would also be a level of 36. So that's technically one more unit then that the players with the best collections will have over everybody else, because the level of your Ranger is also going to take this into effect. Damn, if only they had a system where, I don't know, maybe the weapons had stats to that, and then we could have influenced this maybe even more. That people spent a lot of time and money working on. If only. I'll get to that part a little bit later. Improve level up UI to make Illuvial progression more rewarding and enjoyable. We've improved the UX for XP gain and level ups. Now as your XP bar fills after it battles, it plays a sound, and when level up is reached, an animation with virtual effects and sound effects are triggered. Additionally, the UI now shows the exact stat increases. Okay. So, just a little bit more clear about how everything levels up and whatnot. And just making it more obvious that you've leveled up. Sounds good to me. Now, XP booster. And I was kind of talking how I think that experience, of course, now that the ownership changes are being implemented, it is going to be huge that you actually get your alluvials leveled up. And right now, in a past episode, we talked about experience boosters were possibly becoming an option in the future. Here it is. In this testnet patch, we do see for rangers that really want to pump their alluvials XP up, we've introduced an XP boosting feature that allows your alluvials to gain experience at a higher rate. So there is a 3 times booster to what I'd say is honestly some very generous pricing, if I were to say so myself anyway. For 7 days, 200 fuel, 30 days, 600, 90 days, you get 1,500, or it's 1,500 fuel for 90 days. And then 7 times booster, very, very similar idea, but 500 fuel, 30 days for 1,500, then 90 days for 4,000. Personally, I actually really like this change, because this isn't just, say, something that I would steal from, say, EVE Online, where I'm injecting myself and then, hey, I'm level 60. No, this actually, like, yes, you're getting an advantage. Yes, like, you're getting more experience, but you still have to grind the ladder. You still have to play matches to get your boost. At the end of the day, we are a creature capturing game and creature battling, and hence we're creature training. And just like with any traditional sports athlete or something along those lines, you don't train and become the best just injecting and not actually performing in the battlefield. So no, we do have something that puts you in there, and it's something that's going to keep the queues filled, I'm sure. And the biggest thing that I'm seeing in terms of at least the Discord is exactly what Dr. Spoon is saying right here in chat, is that it's actually rather generous in terms of the fuel prices here. So of course, it could very well be changed, but I swear to God, only in Web 3 would players complain about... only in Web 3 would players complain about something being too cheap. I swear to God, that wraps my head around it, but at the same time, I do get it. Like, especially for the 7 times booster, it's definitely, in my opinion, a good deal. And what I will say, for someone like, say, like myself, that middle of the road, like, kind of wants to be competitive but doesn't have the budget to just whip it out and get the best of the best kind of things, this does fit into like a budget for, say, myself. I would constantly, when I know I have 7 days in a row of, or when I have like a slow 7 days where I'm not like needing to travel or do anything huge, I'd pick up a 7-day 7 times booster. 100%. I do it very, very often. And eventually, sure, my collection might get maxed out on levels. But if there's something to work for extra in the prestige system that isn't just a 1 next to a 6, maybe I would still keep doing it anyway, if you know what I mean. So, not that it's too cheap, but the experience gain is boosted way too much. You'll barely see alluvials below level 50 if this goes live as written in the patch notes. I mean, here's the thing. If people in that 7 days are grinding away, and sure, they're like level 40, level 50, good, that's the point. At least in my opinion. But if all of a sudden, like, I could pick up, say, the 7 times day, 7-day booster, and I only play for maybe 8 hours, and all of a sudden my stuff is level 50, then yeah, that's excessive. But I see what you're saying there, Dr. Spoon, absolutely. Does this mean that if we play for 90 days in a row, no. No, this is a purchasable XP booster. On the left-hand side, we have the amount of days that it lasts, and then on the right, it's how much fuel it costs. On the Twitch side of things, Gear, hello there, late stream with Silent. Yes, absolutely. This week we did a little bit of a change in terms of the time slot. Had a lot of running around and appointments to have to work around. So for both of them, the streams this week, it ended up being a little bit later. Does it stay at this time slot? Not 100% sure, still deciding. But yeah, that's why I'm online rather late here today. And there will be more sets of alluvials to grind. Yeah, 100%. Like, you can keep setting new goals for yourself, right? It doesn't mean that you have to have just the one like one team up to 50 or one team up to 60. Eventually new Illuvials will be coming on in here. And in theory, like I was saying as well, if a little bit more oomph is kind of added into the prestige system, there's more reason to get more experience even with your top team. So I feel like there's plenty of ways that we can branch this and still make it worthwhile. What does 4,000 fuel cost? Actually, I'm curious if I can take a peek here. Let's see. As it stands right now, boot this up here in just a moment, get a little bit of a better idea. So 4,000 fuel as it stands right now. You can't straight up get 4,000 fuel, of course. It's in the sweet spot. But say about 40 bucks. Yeah, like Big Man JB said, about 40 bucks or so. So yeah, so to compare then, for like a 7-day, 7 times booster, that's about $5. That's pretty exciting in my opinion. I'd be very, very happy about that. I could definitely understand why anybody with a top collection is like flustered, because it does bring up the floor of the average competitive player a little bit more. This is why we need a tournament sometime soon, so we can give those people some sort of benefit prior to everybody catching up, am I right? So, kind of what I'm thinking. That's on top of the cost for the Battle Pass. But the thing is, as we take a look down here, the Battle Pass and chat have been removed from the game as of right now, or temporarily. So there is actually no Battle Pass. So all this experience that we're getting, regardless, or you can't even get a Battle Pass. So it's just happening naturally. So that will be something to note. If there was these boosters at the same time as a Battle Pass, that would be euphoria. That would have been amazing, but it's not going to line up here. And then it's interesting that the chat has been removed. I have no idea why we're taking features from the playtest in the MMO and bringing it into the arena. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just being a smartass. But unfortunately, no chat as of right now. If you want to chat, it's going to have to be in Discord. Balance adjustments. Now, this throws everything for a loop. So, Arena's complexity is very high, even as an auto battler. We're aiming to reduce the cognitive friction of the game by focusing on the following areas of the game. So Illuvial's Omegas, where we're getting a revamp for all lines, and secondary effect removal for a few, making it simpler to understand synergies, augments, and then simplifying and adjusting a few effects for the weapons. So the biggest thing that just keeps getting thrown around is that this game is just too hard. And while it is difficult, I do believe there is kind of a lot of its charm there. So I'm definitely curious as to what everybody is thinking about as we go through this here, and see whether it's on point and it's doing okay, or is some of the magic kind of lost. I'm very, very curious as to what yous are thinking. So let's take a look. So first and foremost, let's go through the Omegas. So this is for the Dash, the Rake, the Umber. The damn thing finally got nerfed. No longer becomes untargetable. It instead gets a 100% dodge chance for a brief moment here. So how many times have we seen unstoppable Umbers just dip and dodge out of targetability because of that untargetable as a part of its Omega? This is huge, because while it still has that opportunity through the 100% dodge chance to still do some damage, it still means things are focusing on it. It's still being targeted, it's still being shot at, and I believe AoE abilities can still hit it. So in this instance, the unstoppable Umber, as we know it, I think is dead. I do think it's still going to be a fantastic hyper carry for Steam and Water teams, but is it going to be so absolutely ridiculous as we've seen in the Illuvium Pro League? No. I think it is finally going to be at a good place. Vermilia, or the Vermilier line. The Omega no longer gives dodge, but instead the Omega power reduction on enemy hit is permanent instead of temporary. Alright, throw that thing into that corner composition and just neuter some of the damage coming out there from the squad, even if the Anteater dies quickly. I just imagine, God forbid, I don't have the bunker tight enough, and my Sinolf, my Octius, the Ranger, all losing Omega power? That's a good punish. I like this change. Not a fan of the changes, too simplified, not a fan of the new Ascendant. Want the original back. We'll definitely take a look at that in a moment's time. This makes the phase breaker item boss, as long as it's still in the game. We gotta double check that here in a second. Steam also got nerfed. Think Umber's dead now. Interesting. Oh, I thought that was Fox Oracle saying two messages twice. It was Fox and Fox, but no, one's a Fox Oracle, one's a Fox Spirit. Hello, Fox Spirit. Welcome, I hope you're having a great day. I think Umber is dead now. I definitely want to see what happens. It very well, I mean, we'll see. This is Kuka or the Kukaref line, so we've got the fact that Omega no longer applies focus and increased damage on the received target. Instead, the stun duration has been extended to match the shield duration. So Kuka, or the Kukaref line's already, essentially, it's going to be in the same spot, basically. While the damage taken on that target going away is going to be a little unfortunate, that wasn't necessarily what you ran Kukaref for, right? It was basically to have that big stun that held them in place for so damn long. So a maximum of 4 seconds, or even at the minimum, a 3-second stun, that is incredible. Kuka is still going to be in a fine place. All right, the Mule line. So their Omega no longer steals attack damage and attack speed from the target, and the healing is now based off of max health, not missing health. So making it a little bit simpler, just going to still be that beefy brawler that we know and love. Before you stack Steam all fight, more mana, more regen, more damage amp. Now it's only 10 seconds as well, and there's no more augments that stack your gotcha. Thank you, Fox Spirit, for that one. And then Dr. Spoon, looks like they're going to agree. Umber about to vanish from the board. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I look forward to seeing what ends up happening. The Appon line. So no longer buffs allies damage. Instead, the damage dealt from the Omega does go up. So Appon just fell off a cliff in terms of usability, in my opinion. I would throw an Appon into, say, a Furiox or Scoriox based bunker kind of composition, just being able to buff everything around it while kind of also acting as a little bit of a guard for that Furiox. And having the Appon right next to it, getting damage amp off of it, really helped like carry a lot of games, even though I didn't necessarily have a very, very strong Scoriox, for example. So no longer buffing allies damage is going to be pretty crazy. So it's now just essentially a stun bot. It's still a guard, but it's not the support that we once knew. Grilla gets a change here as well. So the Omega targeting is now on the furthest enemy, no longer lowest physical resistance enemy. And personally, I'm very happy about this. It's been obnoxious knowing the fact that I can make the tightest bunker possible, and no matter what, my Squiz or my Octius is going to get headhunted by another goddamn exalted Grilla, because no matter what, the Grilla finds a way to sneak in towards that the weakest unit. Now this actually gives some sort of counterplay to the Grilla. I can specifically see that it's there and know, okay, it's going to jump onto my side. If I put, say, one of my tankier units over in the corner, like the upper corner, it's probably going there when it fires off its Omega again. It's much more easier to play around. There's actually counterplay. Is this going to make it very, very difficult now for the Grilla, or for the player of the Grilla? It is, but I'm sure there'll still be ways around it, 100%. I like the change, even though that hurts Grilla, in my opinion. The Red Panda line, the empowered attacks only benefit himself now, and always trigger both attack and Health stealing. Okay, so from being the supportive, I'm glad this patch came out before I posted a video on Rye, because I would have been giving misinformation. But with Riley and whatnot, before it used to be if you were above 50% health, you would get attack stealing, or it was attack damage stealing, I believe. And then if it was below 50% health, you would get healing stealing. Now you just get both, but only to you. You're not sharing it anymore. So the Red Panda is not as much of a supportive fighter anymore as it used to be. Granted, it is still Templar, so that very well could change depending on what changes. So hang on. Let me not jump the gun. Yeah, for actually making the Riley themselves a carry, it's a boost, 100%. But I don't think very many people ran Riley as the main carry unless you're stupid like me running Shock Aegis. That was basically it. The Tree Kangaroo, so the T-Roo line, no longer gets bonus damage on takedown. Good thing, because it'd require the T-Roo actually getting a takedown. That just does not happen. The little one is no longer untargetable. Instead, on start, the Tree Kangaroo gets a small little bit of, or gets a bonus AD for 5 seconds. So, okay. Give it a little bit of extra oomph, but that's about it. For the Heady line, the Omega no longer reduces damage taken, so it's still got the blind aspect, but just not the damage taken aspect anymore. The Fern line, the Tornado no longer reduces attack speed from the enemy's hits. I'm happy to see this change, to be completely honest. I thought that Fern, or the Fernite or the Blazonite, had probably one of the most overloaded kits in one ability of all of the Illuvials. Being able to get mass AoE damage on top of reducing attack speed on top of like small stunning as an interrupt. That was a lot built into one ability. I'm personally happy to see the attack speed removal out of there. This way your Scorioxes or your auto attackers can still go absolutely nuts, but this is still giving the Fern or the Fern line its role at just disrupting spellcasters. As a Scion player, I'm still gonna have to deal with this damn thing, but I understand that if I have my Furiox there by chance, that it's gonna be able to still shoot freely. But my other invokers are going to have a hard time until I get up to 5 Scion, if that's still a thing. We'll see. The Chuko line no longer becomes untargetable. We're going to get rid of that from Chuko as well. Instead, the blind area and duration have been increased. Okay, so just relying on the blinds, but with Chuko no longer having untargetable as well, that is going to be a learning curve for a lot of players. But thankfully, for the most part, let's be honest, all you people picking up Chikondi, you're only playing it because you're probably playing Mud and you're just trying to get Predator with your Greater Gorilla. You're really not focused on your Chikondi that much anyway. So we all have a little bit of a learning curve, I think, to go with here with the Chuko line. The Water Buffalo, so the Caribou line, no longer gains HP on Omega, but instead the Thorns and Taunt effect have been increased. Okay, so every Omega, just make the taunts, make the Thorns, every time you hit it, hurt maybe a little bit more. Interesting to see. The Alfie line no longer pierces through any energy resistance, but to make up for the loss, its damage is going to be increased. Okay, fair trade. In terms of the Illuvials themselves, that is the change, but how about the classes themselves? Classes and infinities were already relatively simple, so the changes made here the changes made here aim to reinforce the rock, paper, scissors dynamics introduced with Hyper. If air counters water through Hyper, the associated synergy bonuses are now aligned to support that same relationship. Furthermore, max thresholds have been removed, and the synergy thresholds are now 2, 3, 4, 5 for all primary affinities and classes. So say for myself, my playstyle is going to have to change big time. I was just making the comment about 5 Scion getting immunity for dealing with Shoebills or the Fern line. It doesn't sound like that's going to be the case here anymore. Or say getting 5 Bulwarks and getting the reflective damage when getting hit. That's no longer going to be a thing. 7 Fighters getting the healing on max or when they attack. No, that's not going to be a thing either. They've simplified this incredibly, And it's just going to essentially be raw stat bonuses, it looks like, here for all thresholds. So let's take a look and see what we have coming up here. So Bulwarks, instead of gaining resistances, you're just going to gain max health. I think that makes sense. Fair enough. Fighter with attack speed, sure. Empaths are keeping shield, sure. Scions keeping Omega power, makes sense. Same thing with rogues with critical chance, yep, fair enough. But how about the affinities? Fire boosting attack damage, fair enough. Nature boosting health regen, fair enough. Air losing dodge. And gaining energy resistance. Y'all realize air doesn't have a bulwark unit, right? How do air compositions tank? You'd have to be forced to mix. You can't just play mono air anymore. That's going to be interesting to me, at least personally. Water giving energy regen, sure, fair enough. And then earth, instead of mitigation, is just going to give physical resistance. Okay. So the traditional earth tanky team is going to be mostly physical resistance and max HP. Interesting enough. I like the thought that it's getting simpler, but yeah, the air change for sure is going to be pretty crazy. And then, okay, yeah, you know what? I see Big Man also mentioning the earth nerf as well, because mitigation was just flat damage for reduction for anything, right? So from it being from anything to just physical resistance, yeah, that's quite the change. I mean, given the idea of an earth alluvial, that does make sense. Like hard as a rock, if you end up punching it, then okay, you're probably out of luck, but if you shot it with elements, it could probably be effective. I mean, I feel like that's kind of on brand, but it's definitely going to be a learning curve here for the earth players. Composite affinities and class have had a bigger change to simplify. Again, max thresholds have been removed. Effect simplification, consistent structure in regards to triggering and reward. 1 second, kitten. 1 second. And then reinforcing the rock, paper, scissors initiative. Okay, 1 second. Cat wants out. All right. On that last point there, looking at what Foxpear posted here, it's a buff for air and earth units, while all units got a buff of synergy, and you only need 5 for the full threshold. Definitely look forward to seeing what ends up happening. Now, in regards to the class composites. So for Colossus, at 75% and 25% health, it triggers Colossuses into gaining more thorns and resistance. Okay. Harbinger at 75% health and 25% health. Harbingers gain Omega power and resistances. My dear Aegis, what have they done to you? Okay, at 75% and 25% health, Aegis shields nearby allies and gain resistances. Okay. For Berserkers, every third attack, additional health pure or percent health pure damage for the Berserkers. No more healing on Berserkers, interestingly enough. Arcanite, every third attack, you gain AD and OP. So, attack damage and Omega power. For Behemoths, every third attack, Behemoths stun their target and heal. They get to heal, but Berserkers don't? Interesting. Mystic on ally faint, allies heal percent max health. Okay, so Mystic just got neutered. Neutered, castrated, and shot out back. My goodness. Templars on ally faint, allies gain attack speed. Interesting. So yeah, there's no more buffing up your squishier units with Railu, for example, anymore. But that could still be kind of fun, actually. It turns into a little bit of a clutch mechanic. Like, as you go down, it's on your Templar then... Or no, it says allies as a whole, so not just Templars. So as you lose... Okay, so you're kind of playing with fire a little bit. As you lose more of your allies, you lose more of your alluvials. you start to ramp up and go faster and faster. That could be kind of fun, actually. I'm interested to see how that goes. Revenant on ally faint. Allies get attack damage. Considering that's for rogues, that is a fine change, I feel like. And let's be honest, trying to balance the shield, I think, was probably next to impossible there for Revenant. So this is probably a relatively safe, simple option here. For Invokers, every 8 seconds, Invokers gain Omega Power. I'm going to tell you what, if it depends on the amount of Omega Power given, because 8 seconds in the arena is a very long time. I'm maybe getting 2-3 procs of this every single fight. So hopefully it's a value that's worthwhile. Enchanter, every 8 seconds, allies deal AoE damage and heal a % of their max health. Okay, so they basically kept the effect, it's just not tied to the Omega anymore. But again, you're probably only seeing this buff come out 2-3 times around. Phantom, this is going to be the only thing I think that actually continues to have untargetable, where every 8 seconds they gain energy and become untargetable. Okay, I think Ramp Fight players, you might be kind of happy with this one, I think. I think they might be happy. Predator, on start and on takedown, the next attack deals bonus damage and crits. Okay. Simple to understand, just taking away the execution portion of the effect, but still making it so that the next attack is an empowered attack of sorts. Vanguards, on start and takedown, Vanguards gain resistances temporarily. That's it. No more % health damage. So I was worried about, of course, the 2 Illuvials that I'm always worried about, saying that they're probably the most overpowered. For the longest time has been, of course, the Umber and Slashin'. Umber got the massive change where it no longer goes untargetable. It's just dodge, 100% dodging for a few seconds. That puts it in line. The Slashin' now no longer having the % health damage on crits and whatnot that Vanguards used to give. I'd argue and say maybe even they have been put in line as well. I feel like that is a massive nerf to Vanguard. Slayer. On start and on takedown, Slayers gain pure AD temporarily. Okay, so kind of the snowball effect. So, I mean, that's going to help Umber a little bit. Does allow it to still snowball. And, I mean, Gyro has this too, but let's be honest, nobody's actually using Gyro as a true carry. It was just kind of there to spread dust. And that's basically it. But how about our affinities? So, for Inferno, for the first 10 seconds, enemies are dealt a % max health as physical damage each second. But only for 10 seconds? So it like goes away pretty at say halfway through the fight. Interesting. Steam for the first 10 seconds. Steam units get energy regen and damage amplification. Still in line basically with what they had before, I feel like. Shock for the first 10 seconds. Lightning deal energy damage to the 3 lowest health enemies each second. Each second? So I can blow up your carries real quick before the fight even starts, even if I'm not near them? It's definitely going to be determined how strong this is on the actual value of the lightning bolts themselves, because if I'm building, or would be Shock Aegis, but I'm probably never touching Aegis again in its current state, but if I was building a Shock team, and they were all fist fighters, and they had a Synolf in the back. I'm curious if I had, say, 4 or 5... it'd have to be 4 shock at most. Or 4 shock. Could it take down a Synolf, for example, by itself? I'm extremely curious to see that. Granite's basically staying the same, so just on start you get the temporary invulnerability. Just no repeat invulnerability for the later stages anymore. Shock becomes dominant in meta overnight. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. If the value of the lightning is so pitiful that it barely makes a dent, that an Archhost could just heal through it, then okay, whatever. It's literally right back into the trash bin. But if it actually hits hard, like somewhat hard, I'd be interested. Shock Inferno, that'd be 100% of fun. Oh, that's so doable too. You can get two Inferno, 3 Shock pretty easily. That'll be fun. I have to try it. Magma. On start, the molten ground expands, damaging enemies each second. Okay, so it gets rid of the tanky portion of it, but you still get the damage for sitting in the lava. Fair enough. Mud. Enemies have reduced attack speed. That's it? No more stat stealing? How did this get through without, How did this get through when, this is Kieran's go-to strat? Because I feel like Mud just got castrated. Tsunami on Omega, refend energy cost, okay, pretty much still in line, just don't have the damage aspect anymore. Toxic, every 8 seconds, enemies lose AD and healing efficiency, so lose little damage, lose a little bit of healing. It kind of goes online with a poison of some sort, sure, fair enough. Frost, every 8 seconds, enemies lose Omega power and energy efficiency, so as in, like, it takes longer for it to charge your Omega. That might be kind of interesting. Verdant. After 10 seconds, a healing area appears on the Verdant units and heals allies within it. So, fair enough. Straightforward for that. Bloom. After 10 seconds. After 10 seconds of the battle, then every 5 seconds after that, Bloom units gain max health and Omega power. So you gotta keep them alive, but in theory there is a snowball opportunity here for the Bloom units, similar to what we have right now, just it's not right off the start anymore. You gotta wait a little bit first. A shock with not percent damage will not become meta, and that's where I'm curious about. If it's just a flat rate that's not very, very high, it's probably not going to make a dent, and looks like Fox Spirit is on it with that one. Unfortunately, as much as I got excited, because I do enjoy me a shock team 100%, I'd be very, very surprised to see it get meta status. Dust. After 10 seconds, enemies are blinded for a brief duration. Regardless of where any of the dust alluvials are? So there's literally no purpose to really go past a Revo? Because the Revo's positioning is not even going to affect it? But still, dust will be there for the blinding. Wildfire. Every 8 seconds, the next wildfire unit attack will ignite 3 enemies, dealing energy damage with Vamp. So, very, very similar, just instead of on every Omega, it's every 8 seconds, which I'd argue is probably a little bit slower than the Omegas coming out, but by igniting 3 enemies instead of just 1, that definitely makes up for it. Tempest. On ally faint, allies get energy, enemies lose it. The enemies lose their mind and they crash out. They rage quit the game. No, they lose energy. And then for Spore. On any faint, so an ally or an enemy, enemies lose AD and OP, so attack damage and Omega power. Did Spore come back? Like, especially Vermilier? Because Verbiliaire is going to reduce your Omega power now, permanently. And then on any feint while having Spore active, you're going to lose more? I think that's going to be powerful. Potentially. Yeah, Dr. Spoon, please let us know how it goes, because I feel like that's going to be pretty strong. Augments. Only 18 out of the 38 Forge augments remain. Hopefully the synchronizing one is gone. Now each combination ensures deterministic outcome of 3 choices. The following list provides the effects for the remaining Forge augments, which are a combination of raw power plus tech effects to counter specific builds. Let's see. So the Hyperforce reactor is going to stay... Oh wait, there's 2 Hyperforce reactors. Okay, well I'm guessing this one is the raw damage one. Based off of just gain AD. So like the one that used to be... I can't remember the name for it, but where it was plus 40% damage and like 3% damage amp or something along those lines. I'm guessing they've turned that into this here. So after the first 10... Oh no, for the first 10 seconds, gain attack damage. So more of an upfront bursty option for the first one here. Now the actual Hyperforce reactor is going to be here as well, where you're gaining attack speed every 5 seconds. And the Piercing Force reactor is now on start, where you gain physical piercing. Okay. So going up against a tanky team, like pick up the piercing, fair enough there. Now let's take a look. So these are the brawler ones. At 10% health gain and vulnerable. Interesting. The Reaping Impact Reactor on assist, heal percent of max health. So that was your Restorating Impact Reactor, where it used to give you 8% health, I believe, and then 8% resistances on every single takedown. Now it's just going to be healing max health. So at least the tanky snowball potential of the augment is gone. But it still gives it some sustain. And I feel like it'll probably be a little bit easier to balance this way. Vital Impact Reactor on attack. Deal percent max health physical damage. Okay, so one of the augments that used to be a red augment is now a purple one. Unless this is the one that used to be like a percent of your health turns into physical damage. I'm curious to see exactly how that plays out. All right, fusion. I'm already happy to see that the synchronizing one is gone, so cheers to that, everybody. Godspeed to all y'all's actually playing live right here, right now, while that glitch is active. So cheers. That is no longer going to be a thing, hopefully very, very soon. The Absorbing Pulse Reactor. On assist, get Omega Power and attack damage. Okay, snowball your carry. Resonating Pulse Reactor, reduce healing efficiency for 3 seconds on attack, so being able to hopefully help finish off some of those tankier units. And then the Scythe Pulse Reactor, on attack, steal energy from the target. Or shield the tanky stuff. We've got, after 10 seconds, the Growing Stasis Reactor will give you gaining a percent of bonus max health. The Dampening Stasis Reactor on start, gain crit damage reduction. So unless you're going up against rogues, this probably isn't going to be picked up, but Sota, I am picking this up every single time I play you. I am so sorry. And then this one, the last one here, the Burst and Stasis. This is going to be for the first 10 seconds you gain resistances. Simple tanky stuff. There's nothing flashy here. It's just essentially raw stats. It makes it simple. But is it too simple? Energy. Upon attacking a shield, gain Omega Power. Melting Omega Reactor, let's see, gain energy piercing. Primal Omega Reactor, gain energy regen. Simple, straightforward, but useful. I can see basically a Sinnoh, for example, just take one of these each and call it a day. And then last but not least, the support side of things. At 50% health for this first one, allies gain immune. Interesting. Immunis Void Reactor. Oh. At 75% and 25% health gain untargetable. We found the Phase Breaker. It's a support item. And it triggers twice? Umber's gonna be just fine. I think they'll be just fine. Oh, they're all labeled as Immunis Void Reactor. And then the last one, allies gain max health shield. Fair enough. Again, in regards to all these augments, again, there's nothing flashy here. It's all just buffing a stat of some sort. And very rarely do you get an additional effect outside of a stat. Like we're seeing untargetability and immune here onto support augments, for example. But everything else is essentially just gain stat. Or heal. It's all very, very easy to understand stuff. It's simple, but I think we could still have some fun with this. 100%. It's going to be way different, and all of us who are so used to old Arena are going to be there like, oh, well, back in my day, you had to have this labeled up with this because this augment did like percent health damage, but if you did it for this augment, then you got additional attack speed. Like, okay, Grandpa, go play Ascendant, which we're going to go take a look at right here, right now. The new Ascendant mode is going to be in this patch as well, where this is just meant to be a very, very quick game that lasts anywhere from 6 to 12 minutes. And we'll take a look at all that. Based off of what I've been looking at in the Discord of the people who have gotten the opportunity to try it, it seems like the games are basically done in 4 rounds. That's it. So we've got a Yu-Gi-Oh style of Illuvium now. Yeah, right on. Go see what Big Man's saying here in chat. I think it's a little too simple and not as flashy. When looking at it on paper, I completely agree. It's just going to be a matter of what does it actually look like when we're into the game itself. I'm very, very curious. Because there could still be a very, very good skill ceiling to this. But this would, in theory, bring the floor up a ton. But if all of a sudden it's way too easy, and they use rock, paper, scissors a lot in this. If the game gets too rock, paper, scissors-esque, I think that's going to be a problem. To the point where, like, yeah, you can go into a game with a team and have a disadvantage, but there's no potential way to possibly play out of it. If the game turns into something like that, where it can get to a point where it's figured out, that'll be a problem. But if there's enough room for creativity, theory crafting, and skill expression, then I think we'll be okay even if the augments and even if all these abilities are simpler. But we won't know until we're actually there. And then new Ascendant is nothing like old Ascendant. We'll take a look here in just a second. Quick little medicine break. Thank you. Alright, so Ascendant. Of course, before, for the context, what was old Ascendant? So for those who don't remember or don't know, old Ascendant, you basically use the team planner on a website to preemptively bring in a team into the game where it was a one-on-one, but no matter what, you essentially had a deck of cards, but imagine having the entire deck in your hand at the same time. And you'd be able to specifically play out exactly what you wanted when, but there's only a certain limit to what you can like spend credits wise, and each card would be worth a certain amount of credits, if you will. that got to a point where people would eventually start making build orders. It got flowcharty, it got extremely rock, paper, scissory, and then eventually got to the point where Phosphorus basically killed everybody at the end of the game, regardless of what team comp you ran. So that's basically what old Ascendant was. The new Ascendant, let's take a look. Ascendant Arena plays similar to Gauntlet with several key differences. So by saying, first off, saying similar to Gauntlet, we're not preemptively building our team. You're getting Illuvials in the shop just like you would in the 8-player free-for-all. So that's already a very dramatic difference. 2 players only. Opponent movement and positioning is hidden. No real-time visibility like we see in Gauntlet. Actually moving the Illuvials will cost you 2 credits with the following rules. Newly placed Illuvials can be moved for free within the same round. Rangers can always be moved for free. Placing or selling an Illuvial is free. Moving an Illuvial to the bench counts as relocation, so that would cost you 2 credits. The relocation fee is paid once per Illuvial per round. After paying, that Illuvial can be moved free for the rest of the round. Okay, so if I'm trying to position my whatever, my Sinal, for example, and I can't decide which corner to put it in, it's not going to be... If I'm within the same round and I'm just kind of hemming and hawing, putting it in corner to corner, it's not going to keep charging me. It's just the once. Progression and economy. So faster linear leveling. Each level will cost you 20 experience. You get 10 experience each round passively. Players can purchase 10 experience for 10 credits. You start with 25 credits in round 1. In round 2, they receive 30 credits. And each round after that adds another 5. And again, from what I've been hearing, these games have been basically ending in 4 rounds. Each subsequent round adds another 5 credits. The interest visitor reduced to 5 instead of 10. So 50 credits is the max income for interest in that instance then. Where you would then get... Excuse me. You would then get 10 credits as interest per round? If I'm understanding this correctly? Drone health is now tracked for both players, where each player still starts with 100, but losing a fight deals 25 base damage, plus 1 damage for each enemy unit still standing. So yeah, about 4 rounds then, you have 4 losses. If I queue up against Dr. Spoon, then it's going to be a quick 4-round game. I'm just curtains. Or if I queue up against Fox Spirit, I'm going to be done nice and quick. First preparation phase is 60 seconds. Each one after that increases by 5 seconds. Capped for a total of 90, but players can click ready once they are done. And if both players are ready, combat begins immediately. Okay, so you could go through this stupid fast then, my goodness. Changes to Ascension. What I would normally end up calling evolving. It's definitely meant to be ascending. So Illuvials ascend using 136 copies instead of 139. So to actually find the fully evolved or the fully ascended Illuvial, you only need 2 copies of the stage 2. So only 2 Axons, for example, to get to Axodon now to make the fully evolved variant. An example, game start for round 1, round 2, weapon selection, drone augment in round 3, round 4, a weapon amplifier, and then you die. Oh, sorry, round 5. Drone augment again in round 5, weapon amplifier 2 for round 6, and then round 7, 1 more drone augment. So every single round has some sort of impactful selection outside of just the Illuvials themselves. We're introducing this mode to Testnet to gauge community interest and gather feedback. As always, when monitoring gameplay, get on the battlefield. Alright, so that is basically... that's here for Ascension. So in theory, this next patch coming up, we will get the Ascendant mode. if all goes to plan, and it's definitely going to be very, very different from what we used to play back in the day. But depending on how it feels, how it plays, like, even though it's different, like, there's going to be a part of me that's always going to dislike it a little bit because it's not what I used to know. But if I turn my brain off for a second and just kind of hit the reset button and think of this as a brand new game that I have not ever played before, this could be fun. And I'm very, very eager to give this a shot. Of course, I don't actually have Testnet access, so I have not gotten the opportunity to play it myself. But I'm very, very eager to give this a shot. I can understand why some people wouldn't necessarily, it wouldn't be their cup of tea. I just hope that we don't split the community too much here. Like, I do worry, say, with Ascendant living at the exact same time as Gauntlet, because if I do remember back when Ascension and Gauntlet were both available at the exact same time, I would be queuing up for an hour for Gauntlet and I would never be able to find a match. I would be forced to go play Ascension. And I do worry about something similar to that happening when Ascension does come back. Tried to organize me a code for Testnet. I thought Rich already gave you one. Did he possibly? I have no message, but no, all good. I thank you nonetheless, though, Dr. Spoon. If it's in the cards, it's in the cards. If not, I can wait. No worries. No worries at all. Yeah, I just worry what happens when we do get both game modes happening at the same time. Because if we do get to a point where, like, let's say playing Gauntlet is the best way to level up for experience, but the only game modes available in terms of player base is the Ascendant mode. Big Man was hoping for the deck builder, so like the old style of Ascension. Yeah. Part of me wishes it was as well, and I wish said game mode like that could very well happen. What I would love to see, for example, like, I don't want to tie in necessarily the auto battler to the MMO, for example, but let's say if I was allowed to duel somebody in the MMO and it ended up being the old Ascendant deck builder, I'd be okay with that. But while I do miss the old deck builder style, I am going to be looking forward to this style as well. I just hope that the player base doesn't make things too messy. Yeah, because especially if I'm trying, like I was saying before, if I'm trying to level up in Gauntlet, but I can't find a Gauntlet match, but I'm only playing up against bots because everybody's playing Ascendant, is that going to hurt my experience going up again, or hurt my leveling up experience going against bots? I'm not sure. We'll figure out when we get there, I suppose. But that's it in regards to that article, in regards to the patch 1.17. Double checking. I do have it on the YouTube side of things. I do have the article linked there, as well as the rest of the articles that we'll be looking at here today, in the description. So if you want to go take a look for it yourself, you absolutely can. This is too similar to what we already have, and I definitely feel that too. 100%. We'll see how it goes. Another announcement that did just come down just earlier this morning here for me, going over to the Illuvium Beyond side of things. So I was kind of worried. The original Illuvium Beyond Wave 5 release date was set for February 19th. And I was thinking to myself, well, with this migration happening and whatnot, that's cutting it kind of close. We're going to set something off basically right as it releases without waiting for quality assurance. Well, I feel like the folks at Illuvium were kind of thinking the exact same thing. So we got the update announcements here just this morning, where due to the delay in the IMX migration, migration might as it's supposed to be new technology and nice and fast and convenient. Well, I'll tell you what, the speed is basically like dial-up, if I tell you what. Because I know I'm very, very eager to just get this migration done and over with so we can, you know, actually start playing. But I feel like everybody's kind of in the same boat here. It's not just me. And with that, the sale for Illuvium Beyond Wave 5 is going to be pushed back to February 26th. So just at the very end of the month. Slight pushback, but I feel like we all kind of saw this coming a little bit. Some features, though, as we do await for the finale of the... we do wait for the finale of the ZK EVM migration. Some things have actually gone online. You can kind of get a brief little look as it stands right here, right now, of what the Illuvium website's kind of been turning into. It's looking a little bit different. And we'll pull it up right here, right now. Just a moment's time, kind of take a look and see what we're looking at. So all the alluvials, this is in a listed form. I believe there is a grid form as well. Or there's going to be, at least. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, they have it all listed here, where TPIs, alluvials, and all of types and all the information that you want is just going to be in this listed format. And I know personally, at least, I do really, really like this. Like, let's see. If I take a look at my Dear Lynxes, for example. Each of the type of lynxes that could possibly be there are here. It shows the floor price for everything as well. So when I'm doing this week in Illuvium in the future, when we actually have alluvials for sale, I can absolutely go through and take a look. I took a look at the links, for example. Everything that I need is right here in front of me. It's here, its current XP and level portion. Its stats are all here as well. TPI and the price, it's all here right in front of me. And this is quite nice. So as it starts, I do absolutely love the look of this website. The one thing about it, though, that I know at least personally I'm curious about, not that I'm leaning on it or anything, and I've already mentioned to the team, there is currently no spot to put your referral code. So when it eventually does come back, I know personally I'll make an announcement because, of course, the referral code is something rather new to me personally, and I would been slowly but surely sharing that around. But regardless of which content creator you support, you might have to re-enter whichever referral code you wish to put in. If you do happen to eventually want to support me, code Silent will give me a small kickback to help continue to fuel my adventures here in Illuvium. And I definitely thank you for your consideration. But again, it doesn't have to be me. It can be whichever content creator you want to support. Make sure you have their code there. But again, as of this moment, you can't actually enter it. So once I do know how that's done, I'll be sure to let you all know. Last but not least, in regards to topics, we do have the community tab. Let's take a look and see what everybody else here has been doing. I'm slacking, I don't have my tabs open. Let's get to setting that up nice and quick here. Just taking a look at basically everybody that's been streaming or making any sort of content over the last week.
Like a day and a half.
Hello, Twitch. The classic auto-playing front page. Illuvidex is still missing some features, but they're working on adding them. Like, yeah, exactly. It's still not 100% there. There's still some things missing. I just hope personally that it gets kind of flushed out come the time of, say, the Illuvium Beyond sale. Because I imagine there's going to be a lot of action there. And I would really, really hope that everything that's everyone's looking for, whether it be looking to try and place an offer on a specific Illuvitar, or referrals, or anything along those lines. I just hope that it's working then. Almost there. Thank you for waiting here. Almost there. Thank you. Whoa. It's a Silentception. Okay, there we go. Okay, so community time. Let's take a look and see. First and foremost, I always find it funny that this is how I figure things, or I always find it funny that this is how I figure out if we have a download tomorrow. But let's hop on in to the YouTube side of things. Of course, live currently, but it looks like tomorrow it's 6 in the morning my time. We will end up having a the download podcast here with Scoriox and TSG, and I will go on through, I imagine, a lot of the stuff that we were talking about here, and figure out if it saved or killed Illuvium. Able showing off what looks like some of the features there in Illuvium. We've got token, we got token. So anybody who is playing the game of how long does it take to find a video that's just strictly about crypto coins, well, there you go. That was about 5. So 5 videos in was the prediction this time. Let's see. Crypto Quick Chat had their Illuvium game night. That doesn't look like Illuvium at all. And then, okay, yep, we've gone to the Goonies. So let's switch over to Twitch. A relatively quiet day on the YouTube side of things, or quiet week on the YouTube side of things, it does look like. Little unfortunate. Similar situation here on the Twitch side of things, but we do have a couple different streamers here as well. It's not just me. Big Man JB, they're in the chat, and they're on Twitch here, of course, streaming their grind as well, and ranked. And it sounded like, I think you'd mentioned a little bit earlier that you're going to be possibly streaming Testnet stuff. That might be something to keep in mind later on tonight. We have the Real Gachito that is also streaming Illuvium, it looks like. And then Rare Love, they're a new one to me. No thumbnail or anything, but looks like they've streamed some Illuvium. Potentially. But that's basically it. And then let's take a look at one other thing that did come across my mind here, or not across my mind, but come to my attention. Of course, this is still in beta, but of course, in regards to third-party websites about like Illuvium stats and such, one of the first ones that we used, and one that we used a lot for the Illuvium Pro League, for example, was Data Kings. And it did go down over the last couple of weeks due to the migration. But it is making its way back online, slowly but surely. Of course, made by Rich, so that's our community manager here at Illuvium. I say our as if I'm on the team, but no, like I'm not a staff member again of Illuvium. But one of the parts that I wanted to take a look at nice and quick, because this wasn't a part of the Data Kings website initially. First off, when we would go to Data Kings, we're probably looking more so for this page. So all of y'all that's were saying like, hey, when can I get the spectator codes to start spectating lobbies again? Because I had to use basically the system that the Illuvium Pro League used in order to actually spectate and commentate the matches over the last 2 weeks or so. But now don't have to worry about that anymore. Data Kings does have the spectator codes here once again, so you can hop in, plug that into a lobby to join, and you can spectate matches now. So that part is back up and running. All is good there. But then with the new part, where this is of course in beta still being built, but the big thing that Rich wanted to build is some sort of renting platform for alluvials. Being able to essentially make a deal with somebody to use their alluvials in your battles for a period of time. Well, it does look like Rich is in progress of actually getting that part built here. Whether it be buying, renting is eventually going to be an offer here as well. Possible bidding and auctions for alluvials, land as well as alluvatars all here. Potentially even renting land even, that might be kind of interesting. But it's all going to be coming up in the very, very near future. The Data Kings website back up and live. So slowly but surely, some additional third-party resources coming on through here, and especially once tournament time rolls around once again, which I know I say time and time again, we actually need some tournaments and some dates before we start getting really excited about this. But having a rental system for those players that think that they can get into the top portions of a tournament by their gameplay, but might not necessarily have the alluvials, renting is definitely one of those options. Heck, we've seen that in past events with the Leviathan series, that a lot of people would end up doing that, and a couple of the websites that used to do that kind of went down. So the Data King's website is kind of looking to pick that up and take over for where that used to be. But with that, that's the end of this week Illuvium in regards to the community news and Illuvium news. Plenty to talk about. Of course, that just happened over the last overnight, basically, which has us all in, I think, a very, very, like, cautious, at least personally, I'm in a cautious but optimistic state. I really want to get my hands on playing the new Ascendant mode, because again, it's going to be something completely different from what I once knew. But if I go in there with the mindset of it just being a new game mode that I've never ever played before, we'll see. Maybe it does end up being quite good. The experience booster coming on through, the massive simplification of patch 1.17's Illuvium Arena, with basically all these synergies and all of these affinities and classes, a lot of them getting some major changes, and there's going to be a massive learning curve whenever this whenever this patch comes out again, that I definitely look forward to tackling. Just gotta get there though, and then whenever this dang ZK VM migration ends, then we'll be cruising. Of course, that's not the end of the stream. I've got about another half hour left, so I'm going to squeak one arena ranked game in here in just a moment's time. All right. I'm glad that I wasn't streaming yesterday, though. For the longest time, when I've gamed and competed, it's been years. It's probably been a decade. But yesterday, I actually had a gamer crash out moment after playing Illuvium, to the point where I almost flipped the table and said, screw this game. And to explain what happens, because right now, unfortunately, there is exactly what Kirito is kind of touching on right here, right now. The broken augment. So there's one augment in particular right now, where if you stack 3 of them, it puts your character or your Illuvial's attack damage to such a ridiculously overwhelming level that it's not supposed to get at. And it basically makes it so that you one-tap pretty well every single Illuvial in the game. So what I've been seeing a lot is basically anytime I play Junior, they happen to load up with mud units, give the Monkier those 3 augments, and then just watch as it one-taps everything. But yesterday, I actually essentially had them by the balls for the longest portion of that game. Even though they were going for that, it was fine. They eventually even loaded up on more of the same augment. They triple stacked a Forus. I was still winning up until the very, very final rounds where they got a Phosphorus and killed me. I tried so hard that game. And it was the first time that I actually went into the Discord and just, like, blew some steam off, to say the least. It's a part of the game, but I'm thankful that that augment will be removed in this next upcoming patch, and I just hope that nothing like that happens again. Because apparently this bug's just been in the game for the longest time, but only as of recently are players, like, truly starting to see it. I know even in the last stream that I was doing commentary on, I think we saw Hector try to do it as well, or maybe they had 2, I can't remember if they had 2, but it looked like they were lining up for it. And I'm like, oh no, here we go. Yeah, it was getting to the point where I was so upset that it's like, I might need to take a break from streaming next week. Because I can't I can't be playing this in this current state, and I cannot force my audience to go play so they get commentated by me only for somebody else to just do this to them. I wouldn't have felt good. But then a new patch is coming, so if that new patch hopefully comes sooner rather than later, we might be in good shape. In other news, Dr. Spoon, you're the GOAT. I just saw your message. Thank you. I'll take a look at that after stream. Oh, we got Fox Spirit in this, and Dr. Spoon. Oh boy. So I'm playing for third. I mean, Luca's pretty tough too, to be honest. Won't sleep on Luca. We got a legendary crate right off the rip. All right. Loading it in just a second. Alright, so in this lobby, Dr. Spoon, Fox Spirit from Atlas, we got Zesty, and we got Luca from Atlas. We got two Atlases in here, okay. Let's see what we got. Now, over the last couple of games playing against Dr. Spoon, they've been going for a heavy nature composition. I feel like it'll be a little bit tougher this game, because if you had at least a nature Atipo or a nature Fleesh or something like that, it's a little bit easier to implement into a mass nature team. But with it being a nature Valente, that's not exactly the most optimal unit that you can get for that kind of scenario. The mass nature might not end up being the way. I want to see which weapon I end up getting before I open up my legendary augment, or commit either of these energy crate or energy components. Playing for third, please, man. You're playing for seventh, bro. I can at least do better than the bots. Come on, Gear. I mean, maybe come next patch I won't be so lucky, but we'll see. At least right now I can. When the bots actually start having alluvials that actually have levels and stats, maybe then I'll have to be careful. I'm gonna have to remember how to play this game when it actually has 8 people in it, instead of just autopiloting to whatever composition I want, because I'm unlikely to be contested. Okay, Fox Spirit picking up the Scion nature weapon, so it's going to be the Emerling Rod there, right off the rip. Then Dr. Spoon and I with the standoff. I'm gonna go fire, they're gonna go water. Great, okay. This will be a quick game. I accept my fate, I will not level, and I will proceed to get completely smashed here by Dr. Spoon. Fine, 6 then, okay. Legendary Augment, what do we end up getting this time? For somebody that wants to go fire, a lot of these are pretty tough. We'll try Temporal Guard here. Like, none of those were truly optimal for what I was looking for. Swear to God, here. I don't even want to repeat that one. Okay. Expect anything else? Nope, you're right on point. We'll take the solid start for the invulnerability. Let's give this over to one links. Start transitioning those over into attack damage or potentially a attack damage or a fusion augment. Oh, absolutely. I know you mean no actual harm, Gear. You're good. Yeah, so with Fox Spirit going for the Emberling Rod, that does scare me away from picking up Scion. Even though the only Titofi on the field is there for Dr. Spoon. Love playing Invoker. But it doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be possible this time. Or if I am doing it, it's going to be a little scary, especially off the weapon I have. Okay, scoop those. No, I'm not going for that stupid augment. I'm just getting the one where I get the attack speed. Don't worry, I'm not that guy. I promise. Alright, let's put a tank up here. Something like this, potentially. Up against Luca, who's also doing the double links thing, it looks like. Mine got a good swarm, though. And my carry one is still looking quite healthy. We'll take it. Now for today's stream, I do only have time for the one game, so this will be the only game for today. Scotaneer, hello, welcome. I hope you're having a fantastic afternoon or fantastic day, regardless of which time zone you happen to be on here. I've seen this game. Is it good? I have a heck of a lot of fun. I've been playing this game for many, or how many years now? When was the land sale from a long time ago? 3 years, 4 years ago, maybe? I've been playing for a long, long time. I've built up quite the collection. I am definitely having an absolute fantastic time. Still has a long way to go. Lots of growth, or not growth opportunities, but still lots of features and lots of things needing to be developed. But personally, I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you have any questions about it or anything, by all means, I'll gladly answer. And I also have to ask, because I don't oftentimes find very, very many new people that come across here. How did you, or where did you see the game from? I'm very, very curious. Okay, now we got Fox Spirit here. What? Okay. Fox Spirit is ready to drink from the poison chalice if he wants to. This is the augment that I'm talking about, where if you get 3 of those onto one alluvial, the stats that you actually get in terms of your attack damage goes completely out of whack and turns into one-taps. But I do find that kind of hilarious there from Fox. It's like, hey, I'm not doing it, but if you do it, it's in the holster, it's ready, kind of thing. I actually gotta respect that. That's one way to do it. Just don't drink from the poison chalice. Okay, so links check. What was the links here this game? New is the rogue one. It's the air rogue variant, eh? I'm the only one that happens to have an evolved links. Potentially something that we can go for. There's a Grocco. Let's get that onto the fields. Carry use up with Atlas. Something along these lines. Only up with one fire. I definitely need some more support. One more Lynx. Let me switch out Valente. The Valente away. Let's give Kuka some time to shine here as well. Level up into another one. And another one. And then Baby Glocks I don't think has levels on their Illuvium, so I should have the advantage. Squad will run over this one without question. Again, the main four players, or main three players that I have to worry, or four players rather, that I have to worry about. It was Zesty, it was Luca, Fox Spirit, and Dr. Spoon. Those, I believe, are all of the actual players in this game for this time by. Lynx. There we go. Hello, beautiful. I mean, I'm going to have to say hello, beautiful based off of the looks, because I'm definitely not saying it based off of your Omega power, but at least I have attack damage. So there's Zesty. Okay, they're an actual player, but it looks like they don't have their Illuvials leveled as of this moment. So I imagine my Lynx is, unfortunately for them, going to have a little bit of a field day. We'll see in just a moment's time. Clean up my bench a little bit. Yeah, the way my Lynx is built, it should be nasty, but this isn't going to be the super carry that I need for late game. It's going to help me right now. It's going to make sure that I don't become 7th. Or 6th. But I need to find a way to fight back versus Luca, Spoon, Fox. Since we did hit the Lynx, what am I still looking for? I still need, like, my entire front line, eh? Okay. Anybody else got Archies? No. Anybody else got an not an Archos, but an Axon? No, I don't see that either. So, my main team is available. This could be a saving grace. What kind of weapon do we get here? Fighter... Triple, potentially? This might be an easier way to play this. I think I like that. Let's switch to the Ripple Flail. There's another Archie. And there we go. Aegis Online. Toxic Aegis Online. Let's supercharge our Lynx. So it gets the Aegis buff. Can I find my tanks, potentially? That's not the one I was looking for, but I'll gladly take it. And now we're one away from Axon. And then, as of this moment, my Lynx should be able to just completely shred through the competition. Of course, with the Aegis buff, it does pass over a bunch of the attack damage, speed, and tankiness from two of my my one Illuvial and my Ranger into my Lynx to turn it into an absolute nuisance. The Omni Vamp I'll gladly take for a little bit of lifesteal. There is our toxic part. Let's switch out Puka. There we go. Toxic Aegis online. I just need to find what? One more Atlas? Potentially one more Atlas? I'm finding all of my other tanks. But since this is toxic, I mean, in theory... okay, no. Dr. Spoon's already got a Riptorus. Are they continuing to get Riptorus? At least not yet. Okay, let's try to find Atlas. There we go. Now that we've got them evolved, we can at least get up to level 6 now. I do have my Cling that I can put right here. That gives me 5 Bulwark, so I'm all set there. Composites. An additional Aegis. Could potentially do that if I put cling there. Give you Aegis. That's now 3 Aegis going into my links. Luca's picking up some Archoses as well. Or picked up an Archos as well. Is that just the one? And it does look like they just have the one. Part of me wants to be really, really greedy and try and evolve my Archos. This will be a tough one. It's a closer one. My Lynx might be able to get the job done. We could actually win this one, at least for now. This is when having that fully evolved Lynx does allow you to shine a little bit. Happy to get that win. I don't get to say that I take very many rounds off of Dr. Spoon, but each one feels quite satisfying. I'll take it while I can. Drone dance. Ah. Where did I go? Wait, are you just like literally following me? That's funny. Let's see, every 3 seconds Ranger heals. Let's go for bonus and shield. I like the shield. Let's go for that one. Part of me wants to be greedy and try to find Archelion while I can. So I think I am going to actually sit on this level and see what I can do within my current whatchamacallit. What I can do within my current level here while also staying on max income. That's what I'm talking about. Got lost there for a minute. Clean that one up quite nicely. I do have the little Riptor there. If by chance I am able to get Riptors here, I'd gladly bring it out into the fight. I wouldn't Aegis buff into it, but I'd love to be able to have another Toxic on the field. Okay, let's replace one Grocko there with the Crunk. Can do that. One more Archie by chance, maybe. Can we potentially? We do end up finding it. There we go. Archelion is here. Okay, now I can actually start leveling up. Up against Luca. They're also level 6. What do they've got cooking here? Almost have 6 air, so that could be kind of scary. I do not have an answer for all of the dodging from air, which sucks because I did have the old Fate Sealer in the item shop that I could have taken. I opted for this one here for the percentage health instead. I'll get away with it now, but if Luca gets to 6 air, that could be problematic. We did lose Zesty. They're going to be the first one out of here, unfortunately. GG's to Zesty. Okay. Extra credit going into levels. I can't level just yet, but that's okay. We should be able to take this one as well. You can definitely tell this is a bot because they have the augment that allows for auto attack speed every time you auto attack on the Flood, which does not auto attack. Yeah, we'll be able to slice right on through this one, no problem. Fox Spirit does end up getting the full 8 nature. With 3 verdant on top of that. How many Trunk or Hetty do they have? Komodo dragons. Just the one. Alright, come on, game. There we go. Alright, leveled up. Let's get Kookaloo some airtime here. Do I want to make a push at level 7? I would be pushing for scorpions, and I'd be pushing for Komodo dragons. And the only one that I'm really contesting in regards to Komodo dragons is Fox. But then the only one I'm contesting for in terms of scorpions is Dr. Spoon. Okay, so this gives... I already got the one for the AoE. Give me the one for the additional health. I'll gladly accept that. Couple of augments. Strike augment. Not going to find the one for hitting air, so Luca will live this time. Am I going to be able to find the sweet spot to be able to click this? There it is. And energy with attack speed. Let's do that one. Let's make this one a... stun bot. Riptor is here. Let's switch you instead. Could maybe do something like this. So I have 2 carries, sort of. Axel, how's it going? Easy lobby. Yeah, you know. Only some of the biggest collections in the entire game, in the entire universe. Easy lobby. Yeah, this is what I'm worried about. Just running into the brick wall that is this 8 nature composition coming out here from Fox Spirit. Energy refund, I guess? I feel like this would make more sense. Alright, I've got a lot of credits on the board here. Let's take a look and start making a move. There's a Riptor. Alright, there is the Twine. Get a tank level up. One more Crunk. Another Riptor. I mean, we're getting close to getting something. And this is where the lack of having something that hits air consistently is making it tough. I still do have my Scorpion on the left-hand side, but it's taking an absolute beating. Can it get the job done before the next one? That was a lot of damage. But blinds after blinds is so tough, but the Crunk is still holding the line. Can it beat the Kookaloos? Or the Kookaraf? It's getting close. Where does the Kookaraf look right after it turned onto the Scorpion? But the Scorpion was immune, but not going to be enough. The overtime pulses. The overtime pulses are going to save me. We got Dr. Spoon up next here. We are so close. So very close. That'd be 4 Aegis if I can find one more Komodo dragon. Sota, hello! Good afternoon. Haven't played Gauntlet as in the current patch or going into the Testnet? Because I haven't touched anything Testnet yet. That ramp fight just absolutely crushed me. That's a little bit of a crazy tag team there. My goodness, the 3 of those. completely killing me. Riptorus is going to do some decent work here onto the back line. But I imagine we will fall next. Yeah, there we go. Dr. Spoon getting revenge. Now I'm about to run into a brick wall. Okay, enough waiting, I think. We have to start looking for it. There we go. Hetty has evolved all the way up to the Blotto now. So that's 4 Aegis now online. I need to make sure I have all of them positioned properly. That way the Lynx is the one that benefits from this the most. Oh, I thought I was playing Testnet. No, we were talking about Testnet in the This Week in Illuvium section, but I didn't, or I don't have currently a code for Testnet, but I might after today's stream if I'm lucky. Is this 4 Aegis buffed Lynx going to be enough to tear through this? I don't think it's going to be able to. Yeah, that was a good taunt there from the Kiradulo, immediately pulling it aside. That's going to completely shred me up. So do we make an all-in play? We did lose Luca, so I did get into the top 3 no matter what. So I think the game plan is an all-in onto getting Riplance. Switching that to be the carry that gets Aegis buffed. And then praying. That's basically it. Alright. Spray and pray, let's go. Can we potentially find it? We are 1 Scorpion away. Looking, looking, looking. Oh, we're not getting lucky. Looks like, oh, there it is. Riplance is here. Make the switch, do something like that. We've got lots of augments. Let's get the support one out. Give that to Blotto or something, I don't know. Do something like that. The fact that I have 2 augments still on the board and enough credits to level means that I was too slow. But can this potentially still go into my favor? Riplance has had a very, very clean start to this fight. I can't say the same for my Lynx. I think it got eaten alive, but Riplance is still going. All of the tanky members of Dr. Spoon's team has been shredded. Can we beat the DPS units, though? 1 big stab. We do have the shield, and we heal every single time we cast. And Blotto is still here, too, for a little extra damage reduction. There we go. Now we've got Fox Spirit. How in the heck do we finish this one? Okay, first things first. Even if it's just a matter of getting more heals out, let's do that. Give more smokes out. I think I like that idea a little better. Let's get more smokes out. Do something like this. I could die here, actually. Let's have Kukaloos come out to play. Kicking myself a little bit, but maybe the stuns from the Kukaloos will be enough support. We've not beaten Fox Atlas or Fox Spirit at all here in this game. And they've got a Phosphorus now. I don't see that changing. We're going to try our best to get on through here, but my Riplance and my Blotto are on opposite ends of the battlefield. I don't see a way for Blotto to be able to actually support Riplance. Swinging away, and now we're only finally getting to the Phosphorus. Yeah, this is it. GG's. Fox Spirit with the ace. Going to be able to take that one quite nicely. I'm going to get second for my trouble, so I'm still happy with that, but damn, just could not crack that squad at all. That was a fully evolved Adorius. My goodness. GG's, everybody. But that will be it for today's stream. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the stream overall. It seems like a lot more people have been liking this time slot, at least in terms of chat activity as well as people watching. So I'll be thinking over the next couple of days whether this becomes the main time slot moving forward. Regardless of what I end up choosing, you will be notified through the schedule for next week as well as for my posts on X, of course. My music just switched right at the right time, apparently. Interesting. But we still have lots of interesting stuff. The patch coming around the corner here, patch 117 for the Illuvium Arena, is going to be quite interesting with a bunch of new gameplay changes in regards to how the affinities, synergies, classes, as well as the actual omegas for the Illuvials as well. I know the big one that stands out to me personally is the fact that Umber will no longer go untargetable when using its Omega. It just trades it off for 100% dodge chance, which that at least makes it so that things can still shoot at Umber. It just does have the opportunity to dodge, but it does not break targeting, and that is going to be very, very interesting. I'm very curious as to how the rest of the arena gameplay for Gauntlet in particular ends up working out. And then, of course, Ascendant is coming in this next patch as well. A little bit of a revamped style. I know personally I need to think about it as a new game, because if I think of old Ascendant, I'm thinking of a deck builder basically with my build orders and playstyle. That's not what this is going to be. So I'm going to be very, very curious to see how new Ascendant ends up playing. What kind of experience is that like? What level of experience does it give? Because there's also going to be XP boosters in the shop as well. So still lots coming. With Illuvium, I'm very, very cautious, but very, very happy and optimistic. And you know me, if I'm still having fun with Illuvium, by all means, I'm going to keep streaming, I'm going to keep playing, I'm going to keep enjoying my time here with Illuvium. But if things start to feel bad, I'm not a staff member of Illuvium. I will 100% tell you how I feel about the game, no matter what. Oh, no worries, Fox Oracle, you're good, you're good. I don't demand people to be in chat. I might have been mentioning that chat was more active or whatnot. But again, I'm just happy you're here. The chat is just an optional thing. Again, one final time, big thank you for everybody tuning in. Next week's schedule is probably going to be Monday, Wednesday. Once again, what time slot? Again, I'll let you know soon. As to what we're doing, again, I'll let you know soon. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.